Alright, you guys, this is video E3.3-5 for the plate tectonics poster project. We are still in learning target E3.3A, which is explain how plate tectonics accounts for the features and processes that occur on or near the Earth's surface. We're talking about things like seafloor spreading, mid-ocean ridges, subduction zones, earthquakes, volcanoes, mountain ranges. What is causing these things? Excuse me. And then what might these features look like on Earth's surface? So you're going to go ahead and watch this video and then complete the poster using this info in the document here that you should be looking at, and it is the one on the screen here that I'm looking at. I'm going to walk through this and then I will show you how to put those two big maps together, okay, which is going to be your map of the Pacific Ocean floor or the Pacific Ocean basin. So, for the poster project, it says this project activity is designed to increase your understanding of evidence for plate tectonics and concepts related to this topic that include plate tectonics, seafloor spreading, faults and earthquakes, plate boundaries, volcanism, so volcanoes. You guys have studied these things. You're now going to interpret landform maps, Pacific Ocean floor, to identify certain objects related to the topics I just mentioned. You'll use the resources that you already have. You can use any of your notes, okay, any of the previous videos, anything that you need to complete this project. So what you will do right here in your document says you'll be required to use the map given to you to identify and thoroughly explain the list of concepts and objects that you need to find to create an informational poster. And I will also very briefly show you a pretty good example of one that I collected from years past, just to give you a little bit better idea or clearer view of where you're going with this. So your finished product should be neat, colorful, and very informative. I stress neat, which means rule number one, you might want to write this down somewhere on this sheet because people make this mistake all the time. I don't want you going through 10 different maps because you made a mistake. Practice first. Use a pencil to identify what you're talking about. Make sure you have it correct. Like if I'm looking for a transform boundary, make sure you've correctly identified it before you go ahead and make it some color with a colored pencil or something. Colored pencil is not going to erase as easily as your plain old pencil. For the points, well, Mr. A and I may use this, I guess, in a way to perhaps comp some of you out of this particular learning target, because it's going to be all-encompassing, really, of E3.3A. And for some of you, we may say, you know what, you explain things so well that, you know what, we're going to be done with that. You're done with this learning target. You do have to finish this assignment before you can move on. For partners, it says you'll be responsible for your own poster. You can work with somebody else while you're doing this. Again, choose very wisely. Some of you don't work very well with other people. But remember, it says remember you're taking the quiz alone. We haven't really decided if there will be I guess, a formal quiz, but there very well could be some type of quiz. So next, I want to look at the timeline here. You'll see in your learning target summary sheet that I've given you 3 days to do this. Really, you're watching this video. It could spill into 4 days. That's probably okay. Just know that you can't really move on. We're not letting you move on until you complete this project. So if you look at the timeline here, day one, intro, put this map together, identify all objects or concepts that are on this last page here. This is a list of concepts and objects. It says you must identify all of the following things on the map, as well as, in bold print here, you guys, define and explain how and why these things work or occur. I want them on the map next to that specific item. I don't want them on the back. I don't want them on a separate sheet of paper. I want them on a map. Okay, this is an informational poster is what we're going for here. So we have these items here. Okay, so back to that timeline. Day 2, finish identifying all these object concepts and begin writing explanations for them. 3, finish writing definitions, excuse me, or explanations. That day 4 that could be in there, you know, maybe you're taking special time to get some things colored or something like that, but again, you have a fair amount of work to do and you need to work pretty hard to get that done. All right, so my little addendum here at the bottom, really just saying, you know what, you got to work hard, choose that partner wisely. If you got questions, come see Mr. A or myself sooner rather than later. In the next bit here, I'm going to show you how to put this map together so that you can go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so you have your two parts of the poster here. The left hand side of the Pacific Ocean Basin and the right hand side of the Pacific Ocean Basin. And there are two words in here right along this middle point where they're meeting where we are going to attach them. We are going to begin by just taking some real old tape and putting a small piece up here out of the way and down here at the bottom out of the way. We'll then flip this over and we'll use a piece of packaging tape to put a whole seam along the back of the poster because you can't color over that packaging tape, so we want as little tape as possible on the front. So we're just going to kind of get it in place here. Our first marker, and I will tell you, we may not line up. Okay, when I have this together correctly, these two pages might not line up, and that's okay. We want this Pacific Ocean Basin to be able to line up. So first, and some people like to trim off this little white edge on one of the pieces of paper. That's fine. You can do it if you want. It's not a big deal if you don't. But the R in the word Aleutian Trench. Okay, you see Alaska's right here, right down from the middle. The R in trench you want to line up. Then you want to go down here, and it's the U in Southwest Pacific, right here, right at the bottom. The U in Southwest Pacific. So once those are lined up, you'll put a piece of tape on it, and then we'll be able to flip it over. Okay, again, I want some tape right up here out of the way, right down here out of the way. Alright, we'll then be able to flip this map over and we can then go ahead and put some packaging tape on the back. Okay, if you have questions on how to do this, let me know. I want to make sure you get started on the right foot, so I want to get this done fairly quickly. This usually only takes 5 or so minutes to get going so that you can head off on that project. Alright guys, so on the back here, I decided I would show it to you on a finished product. You can see this piece of packaging tape that runs along here, almost up to the top. Just runs the length down to here. And we want this on the back because you can't really color over that. Alright you guys, so here's a sample. And I'm going to come in here, zoom in real quick, but you can see that there are some labels on here. And some things are colored, identified, nice and neat. There's many ways that you can do this, but this was just one way, and this one was pretty neat. So just something to take a peek at so you have a better idea.